Welcome to Barnstable Today. I'm Len Gobeil, sitting in for Nick Cortez. Nick is on vacation this week.
And I'm Kevin Friel. We'd like to remind you right at the top that the meetings we cover are available on demand at the town's website. You may find them at www.town.barnstable.ma.us.
The Barnstable Town Council last week hosted several public hearings on the upcoming 2011 fiscal year's capital improvement projects.
The plan aims to repair the town's infrastructure and provides for new construction projects. In this clip, Town Manager John Klim outlines the 2011 CIP, explains the CIP process, and places focus on what he calls a vital component.
The capital projects identified initially by town departments in this year's capital improvement plan process represent a total of $29,696,793 for fiscal year 2011, and a combined total of over $342 million of requests over a 5-year period. The Capital Trust Fund's cash flow projections indicate that there are significant limitations on the amount of funds that can be allocated to capital projects. Over the next 5 years, approximately $30 million will be available to finance projects from the Capital Trust Fund. This is also true of enterprise fund programs where there is insufficient revenue to support exceptionally large capital expenditures. Having reviewed the scoring of the projects by both my senior staff and the independent work of the Comprehensive Financial Advisory Committee and the project recommendations of the latter, I am recommending that the Town Council approve a total of $14,307,000 in capital projects for fiscal year 2011 as follows: $7,119,000 for enterprise accounts, $7,193,000 for the general fund program. The general fund program consists of new borrowing authorizations totaling $2,330,000. Matching grant funds and the use of existing appropriations totaling $572,500. The Public Works Department continues to report a need of $3.2 million annually to repair and preserve our town's public roads system. This would be funded through the Capital Trust Fund reserves. As I indicated in the capital plans for the past 3 years, I cannot in good conscience allow an asset as vital as our public roads to deteriorate to the point where failure will occur. Therefore, I am continuing a program of dedicating a significant cash amount annually to public roads.
We take you now to the comments of Bill Brower, the chair of the Comprehensive Financial Advisory Committee, explaining his group's efforts in the town's two-prong approach in the CIP process.
Is to provide the town manager and the town council with an independent view of the town capital funding needs and the project priorities, as well as the process for prioritizing those needs. CFAC actually reviewed all 87 projects, 21 enterprise projects and 66 general fund project requests, and scored them in accordance with the capital project evaluation criteria. The subcommittee's intent was to present a project rating unaffected by the pressures and organizational biases that might affect town staff. Therefore, the subcommittee tried to develop a prioritized ranking of all of the projects from the point of view of town residents rather than town staff. The specific criteria used by CFAC to evaluate and initially rank the projects in this year's CIP were the same as those used by the town staff scorers. The rankings were developed individually by each member of the subcommittee and then averaged to arrive at a composite ranking. The subcommittee also performed an additional review of the prioritized general fund projects in order to develop a priority based on the level of funding available and the perceived need for the project on a subjective basis. Each member of the subcommittee also performed this ranking of the projects individually, and the results were combined and averaged to define a short list of projects to be funded. For a project to be included on that short list required it to be selected by a majority of the subcommittee. At the same time, each member of the subcommittee was asked to identify the appropriate level of funding for the chosen projects which resulted in a reduced level of funding for some of the projects from the amount requested. These reductions were based on the perception that the current economy is resulting in lower competitive bids to do much of the work, or that work could be scaled back to allow more projects to be undertaken. The scoring by CFAC and the town task force, interestingly enough, was reasonably consistent. The scoring by this town task force was in a range of 27.5 to 19.3, while CFAC had a range of 25.5 to 0. The reason we had 0, CFAC has previously recommended that projects with small dollar amounts, typically under $50,000, be budgeted and funded from the municipal or school operational budgets. These projects were not considered by CFAC and were rated 0. While there are some wide variations in overall ranking, it should be noted that 17 of the top 25 projects ranked by the town task force were also in the top 25 rankings by CFAC, and 8 of the 14 projects on the CFAC shortlist are also in the top 14 rankings by the town task force. Most importantly, of the top 14 projects on the CFAC shortlist, 11 are included in the 16 projects in the FY 2011 Capital Improvements Plan. Therefore, CFAC supports the plan presented by the town manager. Thank you.
The Hyannis water system requires a series of items totaling just over $5 million in project costs. They are the focus of our next package. Here, Chair Deb Crow presents the pipe replacement project.
We're coming again for this first one for $1,050,000 for a pipe replacement program. As you know from our presentation last year, we have over 100 miles of pipe, and $1 million will get you somewhere between 1.3 and 1.5 miles of pipe. So adopting this program at this rate each year will take between 71 and 82 years to replace all the pipes that are now in Hyannis. Some of our pipes are currently 97 years old. Some of them, and the useful life of pipe is not 71 to 82 years old. So we're going forward on a program that is probably underfunded, but this is what we can afford in our current rate structures. We will definitely tie this into sewer programs and the public roads, upgrades, and so that we can minimize how much the water department actually pays for curb to curb.
The Town Council approved the Hyannis Water System's 4 capital improvement projects, plus the Council approved the entire CIP plan, which totals just over $14 million. Now here's a look at this week's meeting schedule. On Tuesday, April 20th, the Airport Commission meets at 6 p.m. in the Gorley Conference Room at the airport. The Conservation Commission holds a hearing at 6:30. That meeting takes place in the Town Hall hearing room. On Wednesday, April 21st, the Hyannis Main Street Waterfront Historic District Commission meets in the Selectmen's Conference Room at 7 o'clock. The Shellfish Committee meets on Wednesday, the 21st of April at 7:30. Their meeting takes place in the Marine and Environmental Affairs Conference Room, which is on Finney's Lane in Centerville. On Thursday, April 22nd, Site Plan Review meets in the Town Hall hearing room at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Well, that's all the time we have for now. I'm Len Gobeil. We'll see you next time on Barnstable Today. Thanks again to Kevin Friel.